Move on and get you the latest in India and US trade talks. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a telephonic conversation with US President Donald Trump this last evening. Post the dialogue, Prime Minister Modi said on X that he had a warm and engaging conversation with President Trump. Now, this conversation between the two global leaders is significant, especially at a time when the delegation of both the nations have been negotiating on the much-awaited trade deal. My colleague Sumita Karir is here with all of the details of this conversation.
That's right. That's the big story. The Prime Minister has spoken to President Trump. Both of them spoke last evening on phone. And remember, this conversation is critical because of the timing of this conversation. A, the fact that this is happening after President Putin visited India last week. And secondly, about the fact that this is happening at the conclusion of the two-day trade talks between India and the United States. We do understand that United States Deputy USTR was in India. In fact, he also held two-day talks with India's Commerce Secretary Rajesh Agarwal. Both the sides discussed economic ties and trade negotiations. And of course, he also met with India's Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal. But coming back to what the two leaders discussed, well, they definitely discussed trade cooperation. And of course, they discussed critical technologies. They reviewed partnership in critical technologies, energy, defense, security, and of course, took stock of the India-US Comprehensive Strategic Partnership. In fact, they also reviewed the agreement to work closely and to address shared challenges. Both the sides also underlined the importance of sustaining momentum in bilateral trade. And like I stated, that Switzer was meeting with the Commerce Secretary. Yesterday he met. This was the second day of talks between both the sides. And of course, the talks overall are progressing well, is the sense that Minister Piyush Goyal stated yesterday. But he also stated in no uncertain terms that a deal is only done when both the sides stand to benefit. And we can't really put a deadline to talks. The number two most important thing as far as these developments of the last few hours is concerned, that Minister Goyal also reacted or responded to Jameson Grier's comments that New Delhi has made the best ever offer that United States has received, and India's proposals have been quite forward-leaning, to which Minister Goyal stated that if indeed that's the case, then the USTR should be signing on the dotted line. So what does this essentially mean? This call and what Minister Goyal is stating, are both the sides close to signing a deal, or was this call between President Donald Trump and Prime Minister Narendra Modi essentially to acknowledge efforts from both the sides to move towards signing a deal? Well, that remains to be seen.
All right, thank you so much, Sumita, for getting us all those details. But even as the trade talks continue with representatives from US, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has sent out a very strong message saying India will not negotiate with a deadline. In fact, he went on to say that US team should sign the dotted line if they are so happy with the developments at the trade talks. Listen in.
Give it some time. Let's not rush into things. And never negotiate with a deadline. Negotiation should always be with a sense of urgency, but never in haste. I can only say that negotiations are progressing well. We've had substantive discussions over several rounds of negotiations. In the past, I think 5 rounds have happened. Current visit is not a negotiating round. Current visit is a new Deputy USTR who has joined about 3 months ago. It's his first visit to India. We're getting to know each other. He's at the Commerce Secretary level, Vice Minister, so they're all getting to know each other well. He met me also. We had very good substantive discussions. But I've often said on record that a deal is only done when both sides stand to benefit. And I don't think we should ever negotiate with deadlines or hard stops, because you tend to make mistakes then. His happiness is very much welcome, and I do believe that if they are very happy, they should be signing on the dotted line.
All right, so that was the Commerce Minister, but we also caught up with several experts from across global bodies to understand what they are making of the last of this India-US trade deal. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
We must ask for a status quo ante. Since the Commerce Minister has said that this is not a negotiating round, we still have a chance to do that. That is number one. The second is that national interest has to be topmost in our negotiating format. We cannot be offering them agriculture and allied products the way they want it, because this is a most sensitive sector for India. So therefore, we cannot say that, we just need to make them happy and forget about our national interest.
If we take at the trade talks, we have had multiple rounds. This trade talk, which has happened now with Rick Switzer, is important because Rick Switzer joined the White House just in October, and he looks after Asia, textiles, investments. These are the portfolios that he handles over there. And his coming to India is probably a positive signal into how the talks are progressing, in addition to the discussions that the AUSTR, Assistant USTR, Mr. Lynch has been having with his Indian counterparts. We must also take into account the statement made by the USTR, Mr. Greer, saying that India has given some of the best offers possible till now that we have received from other countries as well. So this is the best offer that we have got, but still India remains a tough nut to crack.
Even if we have 50% tariff uh, imposed from 27th of August, if I'm getting the date correct, uh, I mean, that's not going to impact short-term or the long-term growth at this point in time, given the fact that it is the buoyancy and the robustness of the domestic economy which is promoting the growth. So on the other side, when we talked about the partnerships as far as energy and critical minerals and the other domains are concerned, definitely that is going to, any kind of partnership is going to augur well for India. There is no doubt. India is already having a much more diversified portfolio when it comes to its this entire GDP is concerned. And more importantly, if you look at its, I mean, as far as India-US trade talks are concerned, this is not the only trade talk that we are happening. We have already signed the trade pact with UK. We have been signing a host of trade pacts. We are getting into the I mean, in talks with the European Union.